Hey JD, my name's Aaron. I'll be one of the nurses here that's working with you today. See that we're getting you out of here today, so I figured I'd come in and go over anything you need to know about why you came in, any new diagnoses, any new pills that we got for you. Um, First things first, I see your lady's here with you. Do you mind if she is here while I go over these instructions with you?
Sure.
That's
Yeah.
okay?
Yes.
Okay. Also, John, can I get your name and date of birth? That way I know it's you and I'm... Okay. What's your name and date of birth?
My name is JD. My birthday is January 1st, 1981.
Okay, John. Well, it is good to meet you officially. Again, my name is Aaron. Um, so I saw you came in. You were having some problems with urination. Uh, you were having more hunger than usual. You were thirsty. Then towards the end of that stuff going on, you were starting to have some problems, just not feeling like yourself. Even your wife said you weren't really feeling like yourself, and your vision started to change, and you had a headache real bad.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you came in, first of all. Uh, you did have some stuff going on that was a little bit serious, that definitely needed addressed. When you got to the emergency department here, I saw that your blood sugar was 600. That is very, very high. It's typical for somebody who doesn't know that they have diabetes or isn't managing their blood sugars to come in like this, but it's no fault of your own. Yeah, of course, you didn't know you had diabetes, or it was something you needed to be looking out for in the beginning. Now, the doctor has gone ahead and given you the diagnosis of type 2 diabetes, um, and it looks like you struggle with what's called hyperglycemia or high blood sugars. Um, so, we are going to be starting you on a med that will help with that. You also had very elevated blood pressures. So I saw that your primary had been kind of going over this with you a little bit. Some of your previous readings were very high. One of them was 150 over 100. That's definitely higher than we'd like it. When you came to us this time, your blood pressure was 188 over 120. Typically, a good healthy blood pressure, we want to see somewhere around 120 over 80, give or take a couple. So we're also going to be starting you on some meds that are going to help with that. Okay. Now, with diabetes, do you know anything about diabetes?
No. What is it?
Okay. So diabetes is a problem typically with either the production or the uptake of insulin throughout your body. Insulin is what allows sugar to get inside of your cells. You break down food whenever you eat it, and through that magic digestion of all your little intestines in there, and then your liver, you turn that food into glucose and other nutrients that then need to get in all the different cells of your body to maintain those cells. You've got cells everywhere. Cells make up your skin, they make up your bones, they make up your hair, everything. So, that being said, they're pretty important to keep healthy and happy. And with that diabetes, either the decrease in the insulin production or the decrease in the ability to use that insulin, those cells can start to die, which is why you might know that diabetics have a lot of problems with foot injuries, things like that. That can be from multiple things when it comes to this, and those cells not getting what they need. A big part of it is your blood vessels start to really deteriorate whenever you're having uncontrolled blood sugar issues. And that's something that's probably definitely the case here with those elevated blood pressures that you're having. So over time, very high blood sugars, which I'm guessing you have had some high ones throughout the past while with that 600. Over time, that high sugar level in your blood really starts to take a toll on the blood vessels throughout your entire system, throughout your entire body. It can be especially hard on your kidneys as it progresses as well. And like I said before, that's why I'm certainly glad we're getting you on some of these meds. We'll be switching you out to a metformin, which is an oral diabetes medication. We'll also be giving you a metoprolol and a lisinopril, and I'll go over those in depth here in just a minute with you. But I see that you've already been taking a Synthroid and you've already been taking a Protonix. So you will be on 5 different meds, but nothing too crazy. And the ones that we're adding are only once a day. So, but that being said, the metformin will help kind of bring down these blood sugars that are contributing to your hypertension as well. So over time, those blood sugars start to make those blood vessels very rigid, which your blood vessels need to be able to expand and contract throughout the day to both regulate your blood pressures, regulate your temperature, allow for good what's called perfusion, or the ability of your blood to get from inside of your blood vessels to outside where your meat would be, to really fuel those muscles and the skin and the hair cells. So both managing the blood pressure with the blood pressure meds and controlling these blood sugars will get you back to a much more healthy operating overall health system. And that also has a lot to do with some of the vision problems you've been having and the headaches that you've been having. Over time, those decreased abilities from the blood vessels can start to cause vision problems because the cells in your eyes rely on that good nutrient supply and that good oxygen supply to maintain the tissues that allow you to see, the nerves that allow you to translate those signals that you're picking up from your eyes, and the nerves throughout your body as well. That's also a big part of why people have foot injuries. And I see you got an injury there on your toe. Looks like we'll go over that and make sure it's all dressed up good, and I'll give you a couple Band-Aids and things to take home to dress it properly. That way it doesn't get any worse. Okay. So let me pull out my little med record here and we'll look at some of these meds more in depth. So like I said, you're getting a low pressor, which is also called metoprolol. We're going to be doing 50 milligrams a day. It's just an oral med that you take, a little pill in the morning. It helps to lower your blood pressures and helps your heart's function. It slows that heart rate and reduces the workload on the heart. With that, though, there are some things that you need to be looking out for, some things that you need to be doing to maintain safety while taking this. So because it slows that heart rate, one of the big things you're going to want to be doing before you take this med is checking both your heart rate and your blood pressure, because it's going to have an effect on both the heart rate and the blood pressure. So one thing you should probably do in the morning before you always take this is, like I said, check that pulse or your heart rate. There's a few different ways you can do that. You could either do it by holding your finger on your neck or your wrist, feeling that beat of your heart, and measuring that with a clock. Either counting for the whole 60 seconds and seeing how many heartbeats you have as the little hand ticks around, or you can do 30 seconds and multiply it by 2. You can also get yourself a blood pressure cuff, which is called a sphygmomanometer, if you need to look it up directly on Amazon. It is something that will allow you to take your blood pressures at home and to kind of track them. We'd like you to keep a notebook as you do these things so you can see your blood pressures, your blood sugars, and you can report them to your doctor or your care team as you come back to us. But with that metoprolol, you are going to want to take your blood pressures and your pulse. And if your pulse is anywhere below 60, we're probably going to hold that med for the day. If your blood pressure is anywhere below, say, 90 over 60, we're not going to want to take that med for that day. Just you can give us a call, and you can talk to either the care provider or somebody on the team that would be able to offer you a little bit of insight as to what you should do at that point. Now, we also gave you another heart medication here that goes by either Zestril or lisinopril. And we will be doing 10 milligrams of that daily. It also is just a little pill you take in the morning, and it helps to lower that blood pressure. It works by relaxing those blood vessels that we talked about to help improve that blood flow. So this is another one that's really important for checking your pulse and your blood pressure before you take it. Both of these meds can cause side effects like dizziness. You can also have something called orthostatic hypotension, which is something that can cause like fainting almost. Essentially what it is, it's just a fancy way of saying that your blood pressure drops whenever you change positions. And that's orthostatic, just means you're sitting still. And hypotension is low blood pressures. So as you change from that sitting still position, your body tries to readjust, and your blood vessels aren't really good at opening and closing super fast because of those changes that have happened with the diabetes and with the long-term hypertension. So we want to look out for symptoms like that may come up from using these meds. This one in particularly, the lisinopril is an ACE inhibitor, which ACE is just a wild chemical that your body makes in your lungs. So it can cause some dry coughs. That is a normal side effect of this med. It's not always the most comfortable thing, but it's something that, it's not as serious. If you find that side effect, it's not something that's, going to kill you. It's very common. I just wanted to let you know. And there are things you can do, of course, lozenges and whatnot, try and help that. So that med can also cause some swelling of the face and lips and throat, which would be known as angioedema. And it's basically the tissue kind of starts to what they call third space fluid, and that's where some of that fluid leaves that blood vessel and it gets out into your surrounding tissue. Your body just has a hard time pulling it back into the blood vessel and excreting it out. Those are things we're a little more concerned about. So if you start to see swelling in places, give us a call. If you start to have anything like that face swelling around your airway or any shortness of breath, don't even call, just come straight into the emergency room, because that can be pretty life-threatening. We need you in here. We need to make sure things are going right. So I believe we talked about the metoprolol and the lisinopril so far. So we are also giving you the metformin. We'll be doing 500 milligrams of that a day. Also just a pill. So metformin is an oral medication that you can use, very similar to your insulins, except this way you don't have to stab yourself in the belly with a little needle. So metformin helps the body respond better to the insulin by reducing blood sugars, and reducing those blood sugars. It's generally extremely safe. It's been used for a long time. There are a couple side effects that you may see. You may have a little bit of GI upset or some upset stomach. That could cause some mild nausea. Now, those things of course, give us a call. Let us know that that's going on. We'll see what we can do. However, there are also more serious side effects that you're going to want to, get right on top of calling us, or maybe even come on in. If you're having some severe abdominal pain or cramping, difficulty breathing, especially, these are side effects that are, not extremely common, but happen. And if they do, we want you to come in so we can see what's going on, make sure it's not anything serious. And then also that I see that you are taking your Synthroid and your Protonics. It looks like you're doing Synthroid 100 micrograms daily. Okay. And I'm not sure if you're aware or if they talked to you about it last time, but your Synthroid is a medicine you're going to want to take very early in the morning. Typically about, gold standard would be about 4 hours before you're going to take your other meds. That said, say you're going to wake up at 6 in the morning and take that Synthroid maybe, and then maybe around 9, 10 o'clock you might take your other meds. You're also going to want to try and take that on an empty stomach. But you've been taking that for a while, and that is something that helps you manage that hypothyroidism that you already had the diagnosis of. It replaces those missing thyroid or hormones and helps your body's metabolism. Now you are going to want to, with these new medication changes, and especially with your diabetic change, you are going to want to look out for some over-medication symptoms like nervousness or sweating. If that happens, call the doctor. I mean, you may seem a little more jittery than usual. Your heart might feel kind of rapid and wonky.
Okay.
These are things that could just happen because you're changing the way your body uses that energy. And that's something that your hypothyroidism has a lot to do with. So taking that med and then taking this new diabetic med, it could cause some problems. So any symptoms you're having there, just let us know. We'll work through them with you, okay? And then your Protonics. That is something that reduces your stomach acid production. It's called a PPI. Or, yeah, protein pump inhibitor. You're on 40 milligrams of that daily. We're going to keep taking that. So, I mean, we don't want you to be uncomfortable, of course. And that will help with that GERD management. On top of that, we went over these meds a little bit. There are some things you can do outside of these meds. I myself am more of a lifestyle and health management kind of person when it comes to these things. Obviously, if you need meds, you need meds. But there are things we can do like diet and exercise that can really take a lot of this strain off of our body. And over time, you may find that you have less need for some of these medications. You may be able to decrease your dose, things like that. So here in America, I mean, we eat a lot of processed foods. Even if we're not specifically stopping out at fast food every night, a lot of the foods that we buy at the market are very bad for us. And they're packaged to kind of look healthy. So one way to look at it is if it does have a package, or if it's a prepackaged food, you need to check those nutrition facts, and you need to make sure you're looking at the actual amount that you're going to be intaking versus just these little serving sizes on there. So we're going to want to stay away from these starches, these trans fats, things that are very fatty, like your organ meats, things like that. All of these things can kind of contribute towards some of that acid problems you're already having. It also increases your blood sugars. They're usually very high in sodium, so also increases your fluid retention. Your vessels will stay very constricted. So we're going to want to try and lean towards fruits, vegetables, lean meats, things like beans, nuts, for snacks, fruits for snacks, rather than, grabbing something sugary and packaged. There's some great resources you can look into online We used to go by the food pyramid back in the day, probably whenever we were kids. Now they have what's called My Plate. So instead of having a pyramid with all these different things you're trying to add up, it shows you a very clear plate with some divisions. It makes just 4 little sections here, and it shows you your carbohydrates, your fruits, your protein sources, things like that. And you want to try and balance these meals to avoid these high sugary, high salty, fatty foods. By doing that, you'll lower the amount of sugar that's just freely circulating through your system. You'll take some of that work away from your pancreas and the insulin that it needs to produce. Which, since we've got you on this metformin, I mean, you're still making insulin. Your body's still using it. It's just not as effective as it could be. And these sugars are probably coming from the diet and lifestyle that you've been living. So with that change in diet, it also would be very beneficial to start an exercise regimen. So you're going to want to, you don't got to kill yourself out there on the workout equipment. Just incorporating a few walks a week, where maybe you go on a 20-30 minute walk through the neighborhood with your wife here. Just get moving, get that blood pumping, give your body something to do. Maybe a little bit of training outside of that. I mean, you could do something like strength training, where you incorporate some light weights and some different movements. You could do things like calisthenics, which are essentially just a fancier way of saying like push-ups, sit-ups, squats, like body weight squats. Anything you can do to get that heart moving within reason. Like I said, you don't want to go too crazy. You don't want to exhaust yourself or injure yourself trying to start out a new thing. It's just about consistency and getting moving, getting your heart going. So if you can couple that exercise and that diet with these meds, I mean, it's going to take such a load off your heart and off your pancreas, which will give your body time to heal. A lot of times you can start to reverse things like your type 2 diabetes within reason. You can start to reverse some of that hypertension you're having. But it's going to take some effort, and it's something that as your care team, we're definitely willing to work with you at all times. So I mean, if you have any questions about what you should be doing, what you should be eating, what you should be doing with these meds, you're always free to come to us. You can, I'm here now, but you can always call in to us. I'll make sure when I give you this here paperwork that's got all this stuff we're talking about here in this paperwork I'm going to give you. But I'll make sure I show you in here where our numbers are and things to call us. I'll go over this different paperwork with you here too. I mean, this paper is your general stuff that you've had going on here. We've got a piece of paper here with all these different med changes that we've discussed, both the meds you were on already and these new meds that we'll be sending you home with, and some instructions. We've also got a few things here that we think would benefit treatment-wise, like that diet and exercise plan. So with that being said, I will open the floor to you for any questions. But if you don't have any, that being said too, I can give you this paperwork, leave you guys alone for a couple minutes to discuss some stuff. I'll be here till 7 o'clock tonight, so if you want to ask me any more questions while you guys are getting ready to go, I'm just a call buzzing, or we'll call light away. So, yeah. Any questions? Probably overwhelmed you a little bit, did they?
Yes.
All right. Well, again, John, it was great working with you. I'm going to step out for a minute. If you think of anything and you want to get back to me, just let me know, okay? All right. Thank you.
Yeah.